So, real quick, before I get started on this, I kind of want to get a feel of how your thoughts are, how you feel about wireless lighting controls. I mean, where are you? Where's your team on what they know about wireless lighting controls and opinion?
Um, we use a little bit of wireless lighting controls. We do a lot of hospitality stuff, and a lot of the guest room controls now that we're doing are going towards some wireless components. Um, we haven't we haven't done a lot of like full scale wireless projects. We still, I don't know, probably old school. We kind of favor wired solutions for the most part.
Sure. Yeah, so the interesting thing is here, let me give you a quick history. I won't do a screen share because I think we can actually do a full-blown lunch learn at some point. We'll just go through kind of the highlights and fun, neat things about this product. And you talked about hospitality, so this is a perfect application for it. What we are is the ETC Echoflex Solutions rep, okay? Echoflex is a British-Canadian company that was set up in 2005. Essentially, you might not know their name. You may have heard them over the last few years. But if you hadn't, part of the reason was for almost the first 8 years of their company, they were legitimately just an OEM product. So they would make, wireless components, whatever they may be, right? And they would do that, load controllers, etc., for OEMs. And then they would sell them, and then those OEM companies like Leviton or whomever would go ahead and rebrand that product, right? And so Echoflex kind of made a name of quality, and you know me from my old days, Ed Jones' son. And so when I was at Ed's and we repped ETC, I remember a brand called Echo coming out, which is a wired solution that we also have in the Echoflex portfolio. But they were also kind of doodling in the world of wireless controls with the ETC Aero system, okay? And what ETC had decided was they had seen a value in the Enotion technology versus the Bluetooth mesh or Zigbee, those style of mesh networks. So when we talk about wireless, we're not really looking at a mesh network system. We're looking at a point-to-point or point-to-multi-point product, okay? So all of our devices, there's three main components. Load controllers, right? We all have those. We know we need a power. We need to open and close contacts and sometimes dim. We've got sensors, right? Daylight sensors. And then we have override control stations, whether they're multi-button, single function, whatever you may have. So you can see I've got a light on me shining. And are you guys familiar with the Enotion protocol? I know some of the brands you guys use have utilized it.
I don't know if I am. What's it called?
Enotion.
In Ocean?
Yep, that's the wireless protocol. So you've heard of Zigbee, you've heard of Bluetooth, you've heard of all the mesh networks, right? Yeah. This is a different one. Again, this is point to multi-point. This is low energy, it's mechanical energy harvesting as well as solar energy harvesting, okay? So 95% of our wireless products do not have batteries, okay? Which is really neat. So here is just a hand switch, okay? That can sit at anybody's desk, anywhere in the building, whatever. Here's a control station that we all know. We all know what a Decora style wall switch is, right? We've got a Decora rocker switch. So the way the Enotion technology works is it works with kinetic energy, okay? So when you hear this audible click, you guys hear that? Click it, right? Whenever I'm clicking that and you hear that, it's generating enough kinetic energy and it's broadcasting over a 902 megahertz signal to whatever load controller it's talking to, okay? So when I say it's point to point, that's going and finding that device within 330 feet, depending on certain walls and applications or that. And on the back of this, there's no batteries that go into it. It's just generating kinetic energy. It's a copper coil and a magnet. And when you push the two together, it generates enough kinetic energy. And over that radio signal, it broadcasts that information and it tells us to do something. So if we look, you can see this light shining on me, hi. If I shut this light off, I clicked it once and it's going to the default state of off, okay? So it's listening, it heard one sound because it was already on. When it hears the second sound, on, it turns the light on, okay? But if I hold it and it's waiting for that sound, we can begin to dim. And when we let go, it has that second thing. So it's either 1 or 2. Make sense? Okay, so cool. So you've got basic switches right here. And again, there's no battery on that. It's a little copper coil and magnet right here, generating that kinetic energy to broadcast load controllers. Okay, so we have a variety of controllers. Okay, you've got this basic decor style. We've got a 1 or 2 control zone. Okay, so it makes sense. You can just split it in half. That's what it looks like. So channel A, channel B. Okay, we do have a battery version, and we do have it for sleek. So this is actually a 4-zone button switch. Even though it's got 8 on there, there's an on-off, and each of the ons are a raise up, and the offs are the lower. So I'll pair that here in a second to show you. For some obstacles that I know you guys run into, because every engineering firm and architectural firm runs into this, this is a perfect application. It's a 2-channel architectural switch that we call the resonant wave, and it's meant for glass walls. It typically doesn't have that serial number on the back. So literally, we could just stick it right to the glass wall. Comes with an adhesive, and there you go. You don't have to run that Cat 5 and a low voltage cable, belted and whatever down the wall, and we still have 2 channels of control in that room. So that kind of makes it real easy, right? So that's a really nice feature that architects like. And then again, in a lot of applications, we've got wall lock sensors as well that are wireless. So all of our devices switch or dim. So it doesn't matter. You go, okay, that's just a wall occupancy sensor. Well, if I've got a wall occupancy sensor and just a basic relay power controller, yes, it doesn't dim. But if I have a power controller that has 0 to 10 on the back, notice the plus and minus purple and gray, then we can actually dim. So you can either use it or you don't have to. But no matter what, if the purple and gray is hooked up, it is looking at the potentiometer within this and telling it to raise or lower based off the signal here, the up and down, and then it creates a value inside of this and tells it to dim up or dim down, right? You guys have any questions so far?
So is that daylight harvesting?
I haven't gotten to daylight yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, I'm gonna pair something up for you guys to see how this works, because I know sometimes it's difficult. You guys can see the light fixture. Okay. So right now I've got it paired to this hand switch that I was showing you guys earlier. I don't want to move the camera. Got it paired to the hand switch again. So if I do this, light will shut off. Okay, turn on. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to actually clear this out. So on the side of every load controller, let me just show you guys real quick up close. On every controller, there's a clear and a learn button. I know that might be hard to see that, but that's how we pair and dump information off of it or onto it, okay? So right now on my phase load controller, I'm gonna go ahead and clear this button out, okay? And then a green, I'm not gonna show it to you guys because it's difficult to do with the camera, but you'll now see there's a green light and a red light on there, which means it's paired, or it's unpaired, excuse me, and now the light goes to full, okay? Now, I want to start pairing devices. So I've got my hand switch, or I've got my override control station, wall lock sensor, or vague sensor, Decora switch, glass style, or this 4-button or 4-output switch. Here, you can put it back together for me since you're sitting over there. 4-output switch, and they're very durable as well. We can just pair all of this stuff together, okay? So if I want to, I just come over here and I hit learn. Okay? And then you'll start seeing the light fixture flash like that. Okay? I can take any one of my switches. We'll just go with the Decora because I didn't break that one. And I hit the up position 3 times, locks it in. And now I have an override control station that I just paired that quick. Right? And so if you want to add more, look, this is not doing anything right now. The little hand switch that we started off with, I want to pair it. I can hit learn again. Light fixture will flash, up position 3 times. It will eventually time out and save it. Now, we'll come back on. I just paired that. Okay? So for 3-way functionality, it's really simple to do that, okay? So Does that kind of make sense to you guys right there? Pretty simple, straightforward, and it's all doing it via kinetic energy. So both the switches that I used have no batteries within them. So let's get into a typical office situation now. What is the main code with IECC 2015? Vacancy, right? Vacancy meaning manual on, auto off, or we can set it to auto on to 50% and then the rest will come on, okay? So in an occupancy sensor setting, no matter what, in a typical vacancy mode, if I walk into this room, the sensor's still looking for me, but nothing happens. I have to hit the override station on, okay? I've got to turn the lights on. So what ends up happening is if you look on the sensor, Scott, and I'm sorry the other guys, it looks like I've got a Matthew and a David here. There's photovoltaics on there, so it actually doesn't need a battery, because what happens as soon as I walk in the room, the lights are off. Okay, let's just start over. I come in, it's manual on, auto off. I come in, I have to hit the override station. Okay, as soon as I come in, I don't need a battery because the cells in here start charging up. And so it powers all the electronics on here. And while people are still in that room for hour long, it's fine. We can set the set point for the timeout to anywhere from 3 seconds all the way up to 2 hours. Whenever we set that certain time delay and it runs out, it'll go off and these will de-energize and I don't need a battery, okay? The only situation that we need a battery in would be one where we have just occupancy, okay? Which makes sense because it's auto on, auto off. If we're in an area that's completely black, it has no daylight. By the way, I meant to say that it can be artificial or ambient light. It can be the electric light above, or it could be the ambient light from the window, right? So if I need that, I can absolutely put a battery in there. So for bathroom applications, leave it in there. The second I walk in and I get the lights on, because it automatically picks me up, right? What happens is the battery's just there to maintain, so it can keep monitoring the situation of what's going on in that room. The second somebody walks in and the cells start charging up, the battery kicks off. There's logic built into the components that I don't waste the battery, so they last 15 years. So when Lutron comes in, they go, oh yeah, we can do that. But the maintenance guy goes, I don't want to switch things out every 5, 7, 10 years. Ours are meant to last for 15 because of that. Because it's basically set up that it's a redundancy. We use it in occupancy only. We don't need them in vacancy situations. We also have a sensor that in PIR, this can literally, it's not the prettiest thing right here, but you see all the solar panels on it. It can literally last, I want to say it's 9 days without charge at PIR, okay? All of our devices as well are dual tech, which is very different. So we don't use ultrasonic like watt stopper. We use passive acoustics. So you can see on there, there's a little logo that says a microphone. And that's because it's a low energy hog and we don't have to, we can just use the charge of the sunlight or ambient light in the room or electric light in the room, okay? Make sense so far? Okay. We can also, for what you guys are doing, hotel keycard applications, okay? So now these are all wireless. I don't have them hooked up, but when we come in to show you, Sean and I can absolutely do it. We've got a new version that is battery, and the reason is it's thin and sleek, okay? This is just released. Next Gen and Prism Electric are doing a very high-end hotel in Fort Worth right now, where they just purchased 280 of these. So we're really proud of that. And then what they do in conjunction is add a load controller. So we could, because we make our own plug load control, but that gets expensive when this is 65 bucks a pop. So I can either match them and buy a $65 outlet all the way around, or I can have the line voltage into this and then on the output side, put whatever receptacle I want in there. And this is only $65 as well. So one of these and one of these equals a pretty energy efficient room. Back in the day, when I used to work with Doug Klein, and you know him very well, Scott, so what we used to have to do was we would either come out line voltage this into a lighting contactor and have to, as soon as it came in, it energized that output side, right? Now I just come in and put the key card in. I've got a Chick-fil-A card here. And then I just energize and open and close. The cool thing about Echoflex, and I was so frustrated the other day when I first got my new one in, I was like, wait, it doesn't shut off automatically. They built logic in, and you can change it through software, but automatically waits 30 seconds. So when I pull the key card out and I leave that room, the lights don't just go off automatically. It has a time delay that says, wait 30 seconds. Maybe someone forgot their wallet, or maybe she forgot her handbag, or whatever, right? So you can go back in the room, and they don't have to put the key card in, grab the stuff real quick. We can also set time delays anywhere up to 2 hours as well, just like our aux sensors. Programming is the same thing. We just put it in, it does the 3 times, click, click, click. It'll pair it with this load controller, and we move forward. Makes sense. So that's a great idea. So this one right here, though, it's not as aesthetically pleasing or attractive, but it's battery free. So the end user's never gonna have to change it, right? It can just stick on the wall and there's never any maintenance. This thing, it's 10 to 11 years is what they've said. And also the cycle that you can hit, kind of hit through the relay in there. I think we can do something like 250,000 clicks or something like that. I can't remember what the exact one is. I can find out, but again, it's probably not going to wear out by the time they redo the room again anyway in 10 years. So, all right. And then we can kind of close out here on a few things. We've got, like I said, we've got our new tri-zone controller, which has 3 0 to 10. So this is great for classroom applications, which again, it doesn't really matter, or it can have 3 zones in the room. There's only 1 relay in it for true on-off for all 3. Otherwise, the idea is to dim the zones down to their lowest output with dimming, and if you really want if you really want to turn anything off, they all have to go off. Otherwise, you just dim them down. And with LED, we don't burn a whole lot of energy, so it's not like, you know, they're literally sitting at, depending on the driver of the fixture, pretty low output and draw, right? So that makes sense. And in conjunction with that, we just put out something that almost won the top award at Light Fair last year. It's called the TAP 41 Photo Cell, or Daylight Harvesting Unit. So it either can be an open or closed loop daylight harvesting sensor. So I can either set it for open loop situations where I've got a lot of light in the room and I'm not really worried about trying to match the ambient or the electric or artificial. Or I can set it to be a closed loop where I'm mixing constantly. Third thing that we almost won one of the top awards, and it was an honorable mention at Light Fair, was the TAP 41 that works with tunable white lighting, so circadian rhythms. So what it's doing is we can either match what's going on outside, and other brands can do that, like circadian rhythms. You take 2 channels of this, your 2700 chip or whatever, 2200, whatever they are, up to whatever the highest, 6000, 65, 7, whatever the driver gets to, depending on what quality of driver it is. And then we can mix what's going on. Or in a hospital application, we can actually sit in here and put set points in there and say, hey, this patient heals at 4,332 Kelvin. And we want to leave it there so they actually can choose the best, most comfortable light in that area for them. So it's pretty neat. One other thing is we can actually use another sensor, another one of these, or our window style one that I don't have here that will sit under. And if we're actually trying to get real color of the light from the sun, and there's degradation to the fixtures, it can actually look at the sun and try to match that exact color from what's actually happening if, you know, the fixtures in the room have kind of gotten a little bit older. So it's pretty neat the way it works, right? So, and like I said, guys, I don't want to take up too much more of your time today. This is a really neat product. Again, it's not a Zigbee or mesh network, so it draws little energy. Most of the things in here don't have batteries. They use sunlight or artificial light to power them. And the nice thing that we have too, that we could always talk about in more detail, is that all of this stuff can be programmed. It's not just that clear and learn button that's on here, right? I don't have to get on a ladder every single time I'm trying to do a job. We actually pre-program everything at the factory during submittals. So if you've got Office 104, we're gonna say Office 104 is a daylight sensor, it's got a dual tech aux sensor, it's got this 8-button station, and it's got 3 of these for 3 zones, or it's got the tri-zone controller, and everything's gonna be programmed to that room, okay? We also have a wired version, which we call ELAHO, which is really just ETC Echo, but we brand it so we can sell the wired version of ETC's architectural under the Echoflex brand and we can come out and show you. We've got great products in that, DMX, controls, touch screens, all sorts of really cool stuff, relay panels. So all of this can be combined, and we can do either a solely wired system, a solely wireless, or we can do a hybrid-like system. And if people don't want to get on ladders and they want to make changes to the wireless, you can grab one of these on the site. And this actually, you can just hook up to our software package. It's just a USB to micro USB. And this will find all the devices within range, and I can make settings to them, like time delays to the sensors, repair switches, things like that. So it's a really neat product, and we're having huge success with it. In fact, NextGen's doing very, very well with Echoflex, and that's why Sean and I wanted to get in and show it to you. It's not a me too product. It's a me first kind of product. And the Enotion technology is interesting because it's not proprietary to just Echoflex. There are 400 other manufacturers that utilize the protocol. So if something else happens and I need to mix a Philips Enotion switch with it, I can still talk to the Echoflex. If something happens, I can't get a switch on site, or something was broken, if something happens, coronavirus, right? I can still get other material and still control what we're doing and the Echoflex product with it. The nice thing about Echoflex with ETC is that they have the widest variety in their portfolio. And so we're really excited about this product and want you guys to see it. So I'm open to any questions y'all have.
On your aux sensor and your daylight sensor, are those separate devices? Do you have a combo device?
We don't have a combo device. It's a great question. We can't make them that way, unfortunately. It's one or the other, which I know a lot of times it's like, oh, that's a lot of SKUs in that room where I can have a dual tech and also it monitoring. But because of the smarts of the daylight sensor, with being able to do all that, tunable white logic, they had to separate it. So you will have two devices in that room. But what we did, Scott, is we made them look really nice and they look very similar. The other thing I can't really show you is on the back, there's two rare earth magnets. So in a non-situation where there's adults in the building and not kids, not like a school, you can actually snap this right to the grid. And so like I said, when you think about how much wiring you save, not running conduit down the wall for the control stations, right? You throw your load controller up there with 0 to 10 and just run your 0 to 10 and daisy chain the output. Snap one of the sensors right to the grid, you're done with the room, right? You can mount it. I mean, there's a way to mount it to a J box or whatever to the actual tile. But you can also use rare earth magnets if there's a T-grid in the room. So that's kind of a nice little feature too. And they all have it. So all of the devices, well, this is a bigger one here, but we'll have this on there. And like I said, one last thing for the aux sensor question, the wall aux sensor, I've gone and I was at Home Depot this weekend getting some new lighting, which sounds kind of funny, but they have Philips Hue there, that's what I use. And it's interesting, they've got the Lutron and Leviton wall aux sensors in there that you can buy for your homes. And I noticed that everybody had mashed the lens on this. This is actually a vandal resistant. I'm pushing on that pretty hard right now. So again, we have two versions of this. We do have a line voltage version, meaning we bring line into it and ground to power the electronics on there. And so they don't ever have to change out batteries. It doesn't have an output side. It's not going to switch the lights. The lights are switched via load controllers. So you have one or the other, but it could be a wall aux sensor with a dimmer, and you don't have to run all the line voltage down the wall and then back up through conduit. You can basically use our battery version if you want, or you can run the hot and the ground on the wall, and then just broadcast to this device and open and close the contact and dim at the same time. So, and they can all be set to occupancy or vacancy. It's one SKU, which is nice. So all we need to do on the plans is know what the energy code is, and we go, okay, it's a bathroom, it needs to be occupancy. It's an office, it needs to be vacancy. So, yeah, we appreciate the time very much. I mean, I'm glad we actually got to do that, and thank you guys for sharing 30 minutes of your afternoon today.
You bet.
Awesome.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Take care, guys. See ya.